Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your Friday evening with us. Tonight, Windsor Police Services Board have named Jason Crowley as the new permanent deputy chief, while questions remain about a possible external review relating to his stunt driving charge. Plus, an update on the window washer who had his bike stolen earlier this month. We brought you Al Smith's woeful story Tuesday, but tonight we have a warmer moment. And the Windsor Spitfires are hoping to expand their fan base, and they're doing that with the help of pop star Taylor Swift. Jason Crowley has been named the new permanent deputy chief of operations. The Windsor Police Services Board announced that in a press release today. This comes as questions remain about a possible external review related to his stunt driving charges earlier this year. Jason Crowley had been acting in the role since May 2022. However, in January, he was pulled over in Amherstburg for traveling 111 kilometers an hour in a 70-kilometer zone. Crowley was off duty at the time. It wasn't until nearly 2 months later, and after CBC News filed a Freedom of Information request about the incident, did Windsor Police make the incident public. At the time, Crowley was charged with stunt driving. However, when he was pulled over, his vehicle was not impounded, nor was his license suspended, as would be the normal protocol. In May, he pleaded guilty to speeding and paid fines of roughly $350. Windsor Police did not respond to our request to interview Crowley or Carl DeGraff. DeGraff was also announced as the acting deputy chief of operational support for a 6-month term. The Windsor Police Services Board previously asked the Ontario Civilian Police Commission to review the circumstances around Crowley's stunt driving charge. It hasn't been made public whether that investigation took place and if it concluded. The OCPC said it wasn't able to respond to those questions today. CBC News was told that Mayor Drew Dilkins, who is the chair of the police board, was not available for comment. The board member we spoke to says the speeding incident was a blip in a distinguished career.
Sure, it was a factor here with the hiring team from the police service board and for the decision that was made by those voting members. He has probably, in the court of public opinion, had a great deal of punishment, I would think, for a man of his stature, a man of his commitment to this community. There will be those who will say, "Aha, look at this," and there will be others who will recognize again what he has done over his whole lifetime.
A veteran officer, Crowley joined Windsor Police in 1993. He served in such departments as investigations, critical incident command, and emergency response. He's been credited for being in charge of Windsor Police response to the bridge blockade in February 2022. Still, a police accountability expert says it may raise concerns that police are held to a different standard than members of the public.
So some people will look to this example and ask whether, this type of appointment, A, sends the wrong message to other police officers that this type of behavior, could result in a lower standard of culpability or in a lower standard of accountability for individuals within the police service. And then certainly as well, the perception that even when facing this type of misconduct, that person really has not faced any type of serious form of accountability and actually has seen their policing career basically continue unimpeded.
There are concerns today in Amherstburg about changes to a nuclear alert system. Earlier this year, council decided to decommission sirens that were meant to go off in a nuclear emergency. Alarming for some residents as Amherstburg sits right across the river from a facility in Michigan. As the CBC's Jacob Barker reports, there's a call to get those sirens back.
It's right in their backyard, the Fremy 2 nuclear power plant.
So as you can see, it's right there.
Residents here want to know everything would be done to warn them if any sort of emergency ever happened.
And if we don't have the first alert system available that can get us right out the door right away, it's going to be a catastrophe. So I just want to make sure that, one, everybody's informed to call the town, sign up for the alert system first and foremost, and make your voices heard. If you want those sirens, you need to speak up.
A council decision to decommission the 5 towers in the region was made in July. Instead of the sirens, it will offer alerts through Amherstburg Alert System That would use home phone, mobile device, email, and more. These residents have concerns that it wouldn't reach everybody.
There's many elderly in the community that do not have cell phones, internet, so they don't have access that way. We have our farmers, we have our children that play at parks, we have people out in the community, tourists, that are not glued to a phone, and the importance of those sirens, I think, go hand in hand with having the other alert systems in place.
They also point towards an instance this summer where cellular towers went down and failed to warn residents during a storm in which tornadoes occurred, as well as some fiber optic landlines that wouldn't work if there were a power outage.
With something that serious as an atomic plant, you only have a certain, if they say shelter in place, they're talking about there was a radiation leak. But is there evacuation where there's a serious either explosion, minutes count.
But the town's fire chief recommended that councillors accept the plan to decommission the towers.
Sirens are really an old technology, and their ability to reach our residents, to provide them with the necessary information they have to, whether it's take shelter or prepare for an impending circumstance, is very limited.
The cost to replace the sirens is about $400,000, according to the chief. It would cost $50,000 to have them decommissioned.
The current 5-siren system that we have in place has reached its end of life. In fact, 3 are no longer meeting the thresholds that are required for proper sound levels, and 1 is marginal. So there was a significant amount of change necessary.
Baldwin says she has reached out to higher levels of government in Canada and the U.S. to see if there are ways to fund the sirens moving forward. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Amherstburg.
The 1 Million March for Children protest is returning to Windsor's riverfront tomorrow. It initially started out as a protest against the gender expression policy in schools that states students at any age can change their pronouns at school without parental knowledge. Tomorrow's demonstration describes itself as being against indoctrination and sexualization of children, which activists say is concerning for the LGBTQ community.
This is emphatically, it's about human rights. It's not about parental rights per se. Human rights is at the forefront of this, and especially the trans and gender diverse community.
There have been several similar protests in Windsor in recent months. The activist is hoping for more counter-protesters to show up than last time. The protest and the counter-protest are set to happen tomorrow at Dieppe Gardens at 11 a.m. The organizer of the 1 Million March for Children protest said the march is to unite and educate parents on school board policies that are not acceptable. She said the coalition promotes kindness and acceptance of all, and they expect to have a larger turnout tomorrow than the previous rally. As gender identity in school continues to be a controversial issue here locally, Saskatchewan has passed a controversial bill on the use of gender pronouns.
Mr. Speaker, those in favor of the motion, 40. Those opposed, 12.
I declare the motion carried.
Third reading of this bill.
The bill prevents students under 16 years of age from changing their names or pronouns at school without the consent of their parents. It uses the Constitution's notwithstanding clause to override sections of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and Saskatchewan's Human Rights Code. The legislation received royal assent from the province's lieutenant governor just minutes after it was passed. Is buying a home out of your reach? Well, one local broker says a co-mortgage could be a solution. That means sharing a mortgage with family, a friend, or even a stranger. The idea is part of an online ad campaign by Dominion Lending Center. It's trying to entice people in Windsor, Essex to go in on a mortgage with someone else. But there's concerns about the concept.
We've seen it over the years through the investor side. Couple of buddies buy an investment property together. We've seen that. That's nothing new. It's just a different way to market it and to give hope to the younger generation who can't really afford a house right now.
What happens if
person A decides to have a girlfriend and he wants to move out, or he wants the other person to move out. You went into this because you didn't qualify to buy a home on your own. So how are you going to buy out the other person?
Truckloads of humanitarian aid sit stalled at Egypt's border with Gaza, despite an agreement to allow desperately needed supplies to pass 2 days ago. UN Secretary General traveled to the Rafah border crossing. He made a plea to get aid flowing into the besieged territory.
Behind these walls, we have 2 million people that is suffering enormously, that has no water, no food, no medicine, no fuel, that is under fire, that needs everything to survive.
Egypt is blaming Israel for the holdup. Israel says it wants assurances that supplies will not be used by Hamas. The UN says roads damaged by airstrikes and an agreement on the terms of inspection are holding things up. Meantime, there's been a major development regarding the 200 hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza. 2 U.S. hostages have been freed. They're among those taken to Gaza by Hamas during their attack on Israel on October 7th. The Israeli military says more than 20 people under the age of 18 are among the kidnapped, and that the majority of all those being held are still alive. The Prime Minister today commented on the latest dispute with India. Yesterday, Canada announced 41 diplomats there would be leaving, saying that otherwise India would move to expel them. Today, Justin Trudeau took India to task.
This is something that has far-reaching consequences for the diplomatic world that I know many, many countries are very worried about. But it also has very real impacts on the millions of people who travel back and forth between India.
India is defending the move by referring to the current state of relations and alleging interference by the Canadian contingent on its domestic affairs. 21 Canadian diplomats will remain in India. Well, there's been an outpouring of support for a man named Al Smith. We had him on the show earlier this week. He's been cleaning windows in downtown Windsor for years and does a mighty good job at it. Well, his bike was stolen and he was having a hard time transporting his cleaning supplies. Well, our newsroom got several calls and emails after the show, and so did the shop owner we interviewed. Someone dropped off a bike for Al today at Mandy Plus Restaurant, and our video producer, Mike Evans, was there to follow up.
They came in this morning and they've been in contact with me for the past couple days. They came this morning and honestly, they did an amazing job. Thank you so much. He didn't want to be on the camera, but thank you. I really want to appreciate what you've done, and I'm pretty sure Al will be happy.
There it is there.
Bike's good. Looks really fine, and I appreciate for these people coming together and helping me out.
And it's there so you can go and pick it up anytime.
Okay, thanks a lot.
So nice to see a happy ending to that story. Right after this interview with Al, he was headed toward the restaurant, and we're hoping he's enjoying his new mountain bike and trailer. Well, the Windsor Spitfires have a message for Swifties. You belong with me. The Spits know all too well how popular Taylor Swift is right now, which is why they're offering Swifties the chance of a lifetime. The team is giving away 2 tickets to the pop star's final show in Toronto next year as part of her Eras tour. They hope the giveaway will be a gold rush for the team, as it will draw in new and young fans. Swift's music will be playing, and fans are encouraged to dress in their favorite Taylor costume. The CBC's TJ Deere spoke with some excited fans who purchased tickets for tomorrow night's game.
My son is a goalie in hockey. She tried hockey. She didn't like it so much herself, but she loves going to Spitfires games.
Yeah, I love Spitfires.
Nice. So this is basically the best of both worlds for you guys, eh?
Exactly. That's why when we saw that, we're like, perfect. We get to go to a Spitfires game, and we get to go to Taylor Swift night and try to win tickets for the concert. I thought that was awesome. Obviously, we were part of the, trying to get into the big raffle for the draw to get tickets off of Ticketmaster. We had everybody we know and their brothers kind of submitting emails and trying to get us a code, and unfortunately, we weren't successful. So when we heard that we could possibly win going to a Spits game, it was win-win. I think it's a great strategy. I think we go to games and we do see youngsters there. I think this is going to help draw a crowd from more as well. And they've been struggling a little bit this season, so I think it's going to help kind of bring in some more cheer and get everybody going and rooting for them again.
I watch hockey. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan. But definitely, the appeal to go to a game when there's an opportunity to win tickets makes you want to go to the game a little bit more. It's unfortunate I'm giving my tickets away. My friend's still going to go. She's a big Swiftie also. I think the appeal really is, they're going to be playing Taylor's music, and it's going to be a fun time. I mean, the games are always fun regardless. It's a little heartbreaking that I won't be there. Honestly, I didn't think I'd even have a chance at winning anyways. It's more for, the environment and the atmosphere. So it's not the end of the world. I'd rather not spread my germs to people, and whoever wins, good for them. That's going to be a great time for them. I think it's a great community opportunity. I think everyone's kind of jumping on the Taylor Swift bandwagon as far as marketing goes. And obviously we're seeing the worlds of sports and pop culture come together yet again, with even if it's the NFL or the OHL, everyone seems to really enjoy sports when Taylor is involved.
Before unisex hair shops, women went to the beauty salons and men to the barber shop. But in the 70s, that began to change, with businesses serving both men and women. But the cutting-edge business idea caused quite a stir. This piece aired 45 years ago in 1978. The report was done by Paul Patterson.
There are few all-male bastions left in today's society, and those that are left are quickly disappearing. One of those is the corner barbershop, where a man could get a shave and a haircut, discuss sports or the weather, and generally relax and forget his problems. But those barbershops seem to be in danger of extinction, as more and more are replaced by unisex hair salons.
Sir, do you ever go to those shops where the young girls wash your hair and the disco music's playing?
Once in a while.
What do you prefer? You've been to both?
I've been coming to Frank for 15 years, so I prefer Frank. He knows what I want, and he gives me a good haircut.
This is the kind of salon that will probably one day leave a whole generation of Canadians asking their parents what a barber pole is. It specializes in new, long, trendy hairstyles. There are no traditional white smocks and no chance for a shave.
It's difficult to say whether hairstyling places such as this one will ever replace completely the corner traditional barbershop. Some men say it's just too expensive, and other men say the price is well worth it. Paul Patterson, CBC News, Windsor.
Bit of a moody day out there. We saw clouds, rain, and I think I even saw a bit of sun. We have your weekend weather forecast coming up after the break. We're joined now by Nick Cernkovich for our weather forecast. Nick, on Fridays, I like to cut right to the chase. What does our weather look like this weekend?
Yeah, exactly. You're not wasting any time, are you? Get right to it. Okay, it's going to look better than the last couple of days, I'll say that. With the rainfall that we've seen here, it's kind of been on and off. Still saw some showers today. We're going to see a little bit more. It starts to ease off, though. All of this is pushing to the east, so good news forecast there. However, right now, still looking at rain showers, actually heavy at times. Windsor Airport was reporting sort of moderate rainfall earlier on. So we're still getting some of these bands of showers, or at least isolated showers, moving across the region. But as we look at the forecast, now this is the forecast map here, we go through tonight, things start to clear out. We've still got cloud cover in place. By tomorrow morning, I think we're going to see some hints of sunshine. And then into the afternoon, very isolated showers. So this is not heavy rainfall. Most of it should sort of be down closer to Lake Erie, but I think still a few spotty showers in the forecast for tomorrow. And then as we head through the afternoon, again, maybe a wave of sort of stronger showers toward the late part of the day. But then Sunday, it begins to clear out. And I think generally speaking, we've got mostly sunny skies in the forecast for Sunday and into Monday as well, if you want to extend the weekend, make it a long weekend. I'm not telling you to do that, I'm just saying. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at. In terms of rainfall accumulations, in general, we're looking at a couple more millimeters of rain. So again, this is going to be fairly isolated. But still some wet weather over the next sort of 12 to 18 hours or so. Winds are going to be another story, though. We've got winds that kind of coming up and down. As we move through tomorrow morning, wind gusts out of the northwest of about 40, even 50 kilometers per hour. Then it sort of eases off tomorrow afternoon and picks up again a little bit into Sunday. So a bit breezy over the next couple of days. Temperatures, though, pretty much around seasonal. Right now we're sitting at 13 degrees. As we move through the overnight, still above seasonal. So the normal, if you will, for this time of year, about 5 degrees for the overnight low and around about 13 degrees for the daytime high. That's where we sit in both places over the weekend. Again, just the slight chance of seeing some isolated showers on Saturday. Sunday, though, looking pretty good to be outdoors. And Monday, pretty good as well on 14 degrees and sunshine. So a couple things to draw your attention to there. Sunday, probably the best day for the weekend. And Monday, if you want to make it a long weekend.
We can work with that. Yeah. Well, and it's always nice to start the week on some nice weather as well.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah, Mondays just get a little bit better. Thanks so much for that, Nick.
You bet.
Well, a famous Australian monument is turning 50. We tell you what that is coming up. Time has run out for one of the more annoying contraptions on any curbside. The classic coin-operated parking meter is disappearing from the urban landscape, being replaced by more modern and convenient models. Still, some people harbor an affection for the old one-armed bandits, the CBC's Terry Reith discovered.
The line was long, the wait extending into hours. But it was the hottest ticket in Red Deer. Not a concert or sporting event. These people are waiting to put their money down on a parking meter.
Yes, it's very heavy. They're about 75 to 80 pounds.
1,100 of the oft-cursed parking sentinels were sold off by the city as it moves to a modern app-based parking system. They sold out in a day and a half.
This has absolutely exceeded our expectations. The lineups have been a surprise today.
$20 for a single meter, $40 for a double. Tack on an extra $10 for the pole. People were grabbing 2, 3, 4 at a time. The appeal, owning a piece of history, or maybe a practical joke.
I'm tired of everybody parking in my spot at work, and so I'm going to plant it right where I park every day so nobody else can park.
One of the $40 doubles landed in Barb Chernoff's garden.
Did you check if there was still money in it?
She's not sure why, just happy to have it.
It's empty.
It's probably my only chance to ever have one, and it'll be fun. I'm not sure where it's going to stay, if it's going to stay in with, mixed in with the grapes or in a flower bed, but yeah, I guess conversation piece.
Other buyers say they have plans to plant them in recreation rooms and garages, turn them into piggy banks or art projects. Once ubiquitous features of the city's downtown, now finding new purposes. Like phone booths and neon lights, their time has expired. Terry Reith, CBC News, Edmonton.
A world-famous Australian turned 50 today, not a person, but the Sydney Opera House. And it was no ordinary birthday party. A laser light show lit up the building, which even amid darkness and flashing lights is one of the most instantly recognizable in the world. It opened back on October 20th, 1973. Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website. Looking forward to seeing you back here next week.